Welcome to RyLee's Roost. People tell me they have quite a hoot, and there's just no way of knowing who will stop on by and say hi. Well, every morning when the sun comes up, you'll find me with my coffee cup, heading out back, guitar all tuned up. I got another idea to be made up in a song in the shack in the back.
Welcome to RyLee's Roost, the shack in the back here in Nashville, Tennessee. Lorrie Carter Bennett.
I'm here.
Good friend of mine, thanks to our mutual friend, Bob Irwin.
Absolutely.
And Brittany for introducing us and stuff. But thanks so much for coming and
I
joining
love
us
it. I've had
in
a
the
big
shack.
time. I love your shack.
Oh, thank you.
Love your shack.
Lorrie, you are a descendant of the original, the one and only, the Carter family.
I sure am.
Right? And
My
so
third
many-
generation.
Third generation. So tell me what it was like growing up as Anita's daughter.
Growing up was it was great. We got to go on the road with they take us a bunch of us at once. But it was one thing, there wasn't a lot of room to go in the car because they'd make us a bed in the floorboard of the back of the car, and usually it would be usually it was Grandma and Aunt Helen and Mama and sometimes two kids got to go on the road with them. But we enjoyed doing that. We loved doing that. It was a big thing for us to get to do. And they'd get us up and let us do a song or two when we were little kids. And
so what age was that? What's the earliest you remember going out on the road with your Grandma Maybelle and your mom?
Probably it was 4 or 5 years old. Probably 4.
Wow.
We always were wanting to go with them on the road. And then we finally, most of us... a lot of us started, my cousin David, who's Helen's son, and I started working with Grandma and Mom and Aunt Helen full-time in 1973 when I was 14. And the Circle Be Unbroken album had just recently been released and been pretty popular. And she had a new following with younger people, college-age little hippie people, and we played a lot of festivals and neat things, and they were so respectful to Grandma. It was just unbelievable. There was one in particular we played. I'll never forget it. It was strange. They had this stage way down in the middle of you had to walk down a hill through people. Only way to get there. And poor Grandma's got her altar harp strapped on, trying to get down through there. Every one of them stood up because she had to walk through the crowd. Every one of them stood up, helped her, took her hand, helped every one of them helped her all the way down to the stage.
Wow. So that particular festival, the crowd sounds like it parted like the...
They did. And it was really neat watching that. And I didn't really realize that made me realize that Grandma was really somebody.
A big deal.
It was a big deal. And because there were people that weren't necessarily, they were older than me, but there were young people there, and it was something else to see, and they were so respectful to her.
Yeah. Growing up, did you play much at home? Was music a thing at home, or was that a road thing and you did other stuff at home? What was your traditions?
Well, I never played anything except a terrible piano. I had the worst piano teacher, and I don't mind saying that now. She was terrible. She sang the scale way off key, and it just I couldn't bear it, and I learned nothing. So that was the end of my piano.
Right. But as a family, did you sit around and play?
Not much. I mean, sometimes Aunt Helen and Mom would get together and come over, and they would write, and they'd do little demos, and they used to have what was called a woolen sack. It was a reel-to-reel, and it was a little machine that
they
recorded on. It made it pretty good. That would put the initial thing down, and until they went to do the demo, they did the real demo. Mom sang background on a lot of sessions in town, especially RCA sessions, Porter and Dolly. By the time they did Holding On with Nothing Left to Hold On To, I knew my mama's part by heart. I knew it all because I got to go to a lot of the sessions, and I'd been to the Porter and Norma Jean things, and the Norma Jean who was preceded Dolly, who we loved, and we loved Dolly too. She was wonderful and is wonderful. But Went to a lot of those, and then I got to go sometimes to Uncle John's sessions, but not so often because he always did 10 o'clock sessions. And when I was a little kid, we just didn't stay up that late, when we were little kids.
Right. You were telling me when you first got here that you have memories in this neighborhood.
I do.
Because your grandmother owned a home right across the street from us, basically.
Actually, Aunt June lived there until she and Carl Smith bought it when they married.
Okay.
Back in the 50s. And she lived there until 1968 when she and Uncle John married. Then Grandma moved there, and she stayed there until her death in 1978. So I have memories from as far back as I can remember of playing, running the fields, getting in the creek, running these streets up and down, just bicycles and
Maybelle's best friend at the time,
Min Snow.
Snow.
That was Minnie Snow. I'll put it that way. She, some of our friends, my mom was saying, Mama just loves men. She loves men so much. She does everything with men. And they're going,
Men?
Men? Yeah, exactly. They're going, men? Mother Maybelle? And anyway, they finally got it straightened out that it was Minnie, but they bowled together, they fished together, they played. We had a board game that was a homemade board game called Don't Get Mad. It was basically kind of like aggravation.
Okay.
But it was a big old board, and it was made on homemade something, but they played all kinds of cards and Don't Get Mad, and it was just a daily thing. They were together every day, and that was her. They did everything together. She didn't drive, so Grandma drove her wherever she went.
Okay.
She had they were just inseparable.
Right.
Hank was on the road a lot, and Min was, whenever Grandma was here, and she was, they
were joined at the hip.
They were ready to go fishing, go to Florida, do whatever they wanted to do.
Now,
so.
I wonder if your grandmother ever traveled back to Hank Snow's home of Nova Scotia. Do you know?
I don't know.
If she ever went with Minnie back there?
I don't know that they did. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I know she worked all up and around there.
Right.
And, my mom did an album with Hank.
Yeah.
And
Hank lived right around the corner.
Right,
Did Hank not have his own studio in his home too?
He
Is
did.
that right?
He did.
Yeah.
But they didn't do this. Mom was 18 when she recorded with him.
Wow.
But and she had some pretty good. They had some pretty big records out of it. It was a great album actually.
So, Lorrie,
yes,
thank you for coming to the RyLee's Roost here. Welcome to the shack.
Happy to be here in the shack.
So good to have you. You're going to sing us a song right now called Ring of Fire. Tell me the history behind that, because it was your mom's song, Anita's first, before.
Yes, it was. Merle Kilgore and Aunt June were writing it.
Yeah.
Mom was cutting an album. They wrote it originally for her in the style in which she did it. Uncle John heard it, and he had this vision of having these Mexican horns in it, but he wanted to give Mom time to see if hers took off, and it didn't. So he recorded it, and much became a big hit. But Mom's version has since kind of resurfaced, and that's how I learned it when I was a little girl. And she recorded it, I think, in 62, maybe 63. But that's how she did it. And I do it somewhat like she did it, not quite as well as she did it, but it's still her style and the way I enjoy doing it.
It's real pretty.
It is. I like it. I like it. That's the way it was originally written.
Yeah.
Uncle John changed some of the verses rather.
Yeah.
And to suit him. And
great.
That's.
You want to try it?
I'll try it.
Yay.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring, bringing her to the heart's desire. I fell into the ring of fire. I fell into the burning ring of fire. I fell down, 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 down into the deepest mire. And it burns, 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 burns. The ring of fire. The ring of fire. of love is sweet when two fiery hearts meet. I believed you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into the burning ring of fire. I went down